Hi, I'm Kath from Veg Patch Kitchen Cookery School, and today we're going to talk about proving baskets and bannetons and why they're useful to use for bread making. Now, they're not at all necessary, so please don't feel you have to go out and purchase one, but they are quite nice things to have. And what they do is, if I can show you this picture on the front of my sourdough booklet, if you can see there, the loaf has this lovely lines of flour on it. It just gives that lovely appearance. But more than that, what they do is they help support the loaf whilst it's proving and growing and that second rise. So it gives it a stronger shape. Okay, so they are lovely things to use. These ones that I use are made of cane, okay, made into a circle here, and the oval in this one. But you can also buy ones made out of wood fibre called brot forms, and you can also buy them plastic, which you can put in the dishwasher. So experiment and see which ones you prefer. When you first buy a banneton, you can see that they have this very clean looking surface, and some of them come with a linen liner. So if I take this off, you can see there's a banneton underneath, and you can choose whether or not you keep that linen liner in there. It won't give you that ridged effect, but it will give you a lovely smooth effect. So if you're wanting to do some beautiful slashes, making a pattern, then the liner is really good for that, because you don't have the ridged lines of the banneton on your turned out loaf. Now, these don't go in the oven, okay? These are only for proving. And then you turn them out onto the underside of a baking tray or a baker's peel, and then slash and pop into the oven. Okay, so you need to have a solid sheet in your oven if you're using a banneton to turn your loaf out onto, because these do not go into the oven at any point to bake. The loaves are turned out of them. When you get them, you have to season them. Okay, so these are my well-used bannetons, and you can see that they have this layer of seasoning already there. And by seasoning, I mean this is layers and layers of the flour used again and again and again. So you don't wash bannetons either, okay? What you do is you put it into a low oven at about 100 degrees every couple of weeks. They go into a low oven and they're sterilised in that way. So they stay about half an hour to an hour in a low oven, so that you can make sure there's no bugs and they're perfectly sterilised. Just dust it out, give it a shake after each use, and dust out any excess flour before you use it again. But the more that you use it, the better it will be at your loaf not sticking, okay? So don't wash it, just re-flour with each use. So it takes a while to get to that stage, but a shortcut can be using the plant mister. Just mist the banneton a little, flour it really well, tip that out, mist it again with water, flour it really well and tip that out, and then continue to use it each time. And then be aware that they come in many different shapes and sizes. So if you're buying online, make sure you've got your tape measure and you're looking at not only the width, but also the depth, because there can be quite a few which will be the same width across, but a lot less deep. Okay, so just be aware of that when you're measuring. Make sure you know what's going to come in the post, because sometimes they can be quite shallow and very small. So these larger ones will fit dough that's made with a kilogram of flour, and so will this oval banneton here, and the smaller one will fit a loaf made with 500 grams of flour. So I would always recommend getting the larger one, and then you don't need two. And then just remember that when you put the smaller loaf in there, it's not going to rise to the top like it would if it was in a smaller banneton.